it's Jixie here for another Jixie vlog as promised. It's a Thursday. I think the last couple of times I've been doing it on Sundays, but now it's Thursday. But you would know about it if you follow me on Twitter. I gave you a sort of a notification saying that there'll be a special video on Thursday with a special guest. Introduce yourself.
I don't know how special I am. The name's Daniel. Most people call me Dan. And I'm all the way from sunny Doncaster.
Doncaster, in the north of England.
That's right. Although it's freezing cold there, just as it's freezing cold here today.
It's very cold here today.
Yeah.
So the reason why I've had Dan here today is to talk about a few different things, mainly about disability-related things, but a few other things as well. And so I have some questions. I've asked some questions I've asked for people to submit questions rather on Twitter and on YouTube as well in the comments of my videos. And so yes, I have a few different ones here. Well, actually, I have one. You guys submitted one question. That's right. I really was going to sort of put a bit of a better spin on it and say, you guys have sent in loads of questions, but that would be a bit of a lie since I only got one question from one person. So let's get right to that one particular... Oh, hang on, that's something different.
Okay. I suppose I should probably mention that we knew each other at college, and I'm seeing you again, aren't I, for the first time in
about 15 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Something, yes.
You haven't changed much.
I think I've changed a lot. Also, something else to mention is that Dan's completely blind, aren't you? You can go and tell them a bit about your disability, actually. Yes. Go and tell them a bit.
I'm blind to many things. My faults, mostly.
Go and tell them about your disability.
My disability? Well, I have something called Norrie's disease, apparently. Which is
it contagious?
Rhyming. I hope not. You'll be a gibbering idiot in 5 days. And I'm totally blind. I have been from birth. In fact, one of my eyes is made of plastic. Some strange distracting noise coming from over there.
My dogs are barking in the bedroom.
No. Doggy friends. They've been climbing on me today. I don't like dogs, but I've got to admit those two are.
They are pretty cute, guys.
They are cute.
Well, you've seen them. You see them on the channel all the time. But carry on about your disability.
Sorry, I'm like this. Don't interrupt.
Yeah, just ignore them. I'm sorry about them.
Do my best.
I can't really shut them up unless I've got a muzzle on them.
Yeah, I appreciate
which would be very cruel.
I suppose you could give them some toffee.
Oh.
Don't
do that. Look, I do not advocate in any kind of way. Disclaimer, guys. I do not advocate giving dogs toffee. Don't do it. Don't listen to him.
What was that? Yes, blind.
Your disease.
That's right. As I say, I'm totally blind. One of my eyes is made of plastic. I had it removed when I was 7, 8, something like that. But that's not actually related. I don't know exactly what it was all about. Nobody knew. There was something wrong with it. It would just hurt all the time, and nobody knew. And they just said in the end, well, we might as well get rid of it. So no, don't need it for anything. I'm also I don't like the expression partially deaf, but I am. I wear hearing aids.
Yes, and I have to speak very loudly to him. So if he asks me to repeat any of the questions that I'm going to ask him while we are having this discussion, then that's the reason why. And just be patient with him, because I'm patient with him.
According to my audiologist, they are super-powered hearing aids, but I've never noticed them having any superpowers. I've never been able to fly or turn myself invisible or...
Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it, if he was invisible?
Yeah. Well...
Then I could pretend he wasn't here.
See?
Then I could pretend you weren't here.
Oh! We've been out shopping, haven't we, a little bit?
Yes. Right, so here's the questions that we are going to ask, that we have got asked by this one specific guy who asked a question about my book, and asked what type of book I am writing. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, yeah.
Yes.
What type of book are you writing?
Yes, what type of book am I writing? So just to clarify, guys, I do put little snippets of things on Twitter That is the best place to follow me. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll know all this stuff. But I put little bits and pieces on there. But this is a synopsis of my book, basically. It's set in the future, on a distant planet, which is never really given a name. It just is. It's mainly set in this one country called Bavaria.
Oh, I thought that was the name of the planet. Interesting enough.
No. We're going to find out more about the rest of the planet in later books.
Right. Because we're so used to, in most science fiction, of course, you don't have countries.
No,
you have planets, so you get so used to that. If you read, you don't think about countries, you just think about planets.
Yes, no, it's just one country that's called Bavaria.
I see.
And I think that the reason it's complicated. Anyway, so this country called Bavaria is inhabited by these creatures called oides, who are kind of I call them a cross between aliens and fairies. You guys know I love fairies, so that's kind of an obvious one. But they are sort of green tinted. They're not like properly like Shrek skinned. They don't have skins like Shrek, but they have sort of like pale green sort of tinted skin, and they have hair that has green at the tips of it, and they are they can jump with these special springy legs, can't they? Yeah, and anyway, so this planet is, and then there's also Pluxes, which is another of the species on this planet, who are these kind of big, wrinkly they're not wrinkly as in old, they're kind of wrinkly as in like they've got lots of fat on them kind of creatures. Anyway, and the humans kind of they come to, after the Earth has been destroyed, they come to Bavaria, and because the oides and pluxes that live there are kind of not really very advanced in technology, or they're very primitive. They easily sort of take over, and they push the oides and pluxes into set professions and kind of starve them. And then 15 years after the takeover by humans, there's this one specific oide called Mori, who she goes to the capital city of the country, which is called Weverine, and meets a plux called Joic, who tells her about a secret resistance that is designed to take down the government. So so that's kind of what that's about. So it's and I've been reading the book to you, haven't I? You have. I mean, if I were to talk about genre, I would probably describe it, and I hope you don't mind my I'll slap you if I mind. But if I were to talk about genre, I would probably describe it as future fantasy rather than science fiction. Do you think? Yeah. Only because science fiction is, strictly speaking at least, about technology, about scientific developments and the consequences thereof. Whereas this book is very much about people, isn't it? Of any species. Yes. The oides and the... It's not about spaceships and computers. Although it does have it has a spaceship in it at the very beginning. Yeah. There is a spaceship in it. But it's not about... it's not about machines. It's not about science. So it's a book. It's a story, a speculative story about a situation that may arise in the future. That's why I would call it future fantasy. Yeah, I think that's quite accurate, really. And how have you been enjoying it? Just very much. As I've said, I've been. Yeah, you've told me, but tell them. Well, I'm telling them. He's sassy. Yes, I have enjoyed it very much. It's very engaging. It draws. I think it's got some very. I hate to use the same word again, but very engaging characters. You've got Mori, the main character, who is your sort of typical young girl who is in a way growing up and learning about the world, so to speak, because she's lived in the same little village all her life, hasn't she? And then she suddenly comes into this capital city, and and she's suddenly learning about all the discrimination that's going on, all the disadvantages that are put upon the oides and the pluxes by the humans. There are laws about, as you were saying, things that
the different things they can do.
There's laws about oidies can only collect weeds. There's a specific type of weed that the humans like for a specific reason that I don't want to really go into because obviously we can't tell too much about the book. Because
I was just going to ask you, so I won't.
But there's a specific type of weed that the humans eat for a specific reason, and the oidies kind of harvest that, and then the pluxes usually have are basically their only job is they are allowed to be servants, and that's it. And so they are not. At one point, Maury auditions at a theatre because she's a singer. She likes to sing, and she's very much told basically no, bug off. You're not allowed to. It's against the law. So yeah, there is set laws that you.
So it draws a lot of parallels, I think, with issues in our own world. Discrimination, discrimination against what you can do, discrimination against who you can love. And also it enters into the debate and shines a light on the controversial saying that one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. We explore resistance movements and the ethics thereof and things like that. And we have a love triangle to a certain extent.
It's not really, it is, but it's not a conventional love triangle.
Right, yeah.
I think many people don't like the sound as soon as you hear the word love triangle.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
It's fine. You're just saying what you think, it's fine. But I think as soon as you hear the word love triangle, you automatically sort of think, oh God, it's sort of like Twilight all over again.
I have never read Twilight.
Or watched it. Have you watched it?
No, I know nothing about it except that it's got vampires in it and some stupid people threatened to commit suicide when it stopped or something like that.
What? Oh, some people get rather invested.
Well, of course, I suppose that might, if it's about vampires, if they committed suicide, they might be vampires, so I suppose.
No, because you'd have to die in a specific way, wouldn't you? You'd have to have, like, your blood drained by an actual vampire. You can't.
In that case, how did the first vampire come about?
I think the theory goes that the first vampire was created by the devil.
I see. Okay.
But I could be wrong. I need to do research. Right. Research is my thing.
But we weren't supposed to be talking about vampires, were we?
No, we weren't. We weren't supposed to be going from.
Yeah, Twilight. No, I've never read Twilight.
Oh, I've watched it. I've watched the movies. I have to say though, I found Eclipse. I think that's the third one. Deathly dull. I mean, literally, I think I fell asleep.
That's an appropriate expression, isn't it?
Deathly dull.
Deathly
yes.
dull.
I think I fell asleep, which I don't do very, very many times. Anyway, so if we move on to the next question.
Yes. To Excel.
So yes, that's the book. That's the first question by a guy called Noah. I can't remember your last name, Noah, but you did send me a lovely little question that I have now, I think, appropriately answered, or we have appropriately answered. Okay, so the next questions or the next things I really want to talk about, because obviously you guys know I did a recent video about my disability, and obviously now Dan's here and he has his own disability to talk about. So I thought it would be really appropriate for us to talk a bit about that.
A nice moan fest.
Oh no, don't rant. But I was thinking, maybe this isn't something you're very aware of, but oftentimes when I am about with my cane, when I'm out about in the shops or whatever, I oftentimes get stared at by certain people. Do you are you aware of people staring at you with your cane?
Well, obviously, as I can't see, pretty much no.
No, but do your mum or your
step? Yes, people talk about. People say, my family say people look at you. My attitude generally is, we'll let them look. It's their problem, not mine.
I deal with it less confidently. Obviously nobody likes to be stared at. I don't think.
I think the thing is, for me, it's easy for me. It's very easy, very very easy for me to say let them look because I can't see them looking.
Yes.
And I think that's the difference. I can imagine that if you could kind of feel all those eyes on you, you would feel a bit.
Well, I kind of had one girl. I was standing in the shop around the corner from me with my cane, and sort of one girl, and she was only very little. She was probably only about maybe 5 or 6, and she kind of backed away from me as if I was maybe a yeti or something, and I was about to eat her. or roar at her or something. And she very much sort of backed away as if I was going to peck out her eyes.
Oh dear.
And that was a little bit because I love kids. I absolutely do love kids. So for me, it was a bit like sort of I was sort of smiling at her, and I think she thought I was smiling at her to bare my teeth in a vampiric rage.
Like the scree-wee, but I don't imagine anybody will know what that
no.
was.
He has very weird references to weird things that I don't know.
I do talk about weird things that nobody understands.
Yes.
If anybody's into Terry Pratchett, they will know. But anyway, what I was going to say, my nephew, interesting enough, he's 16 now. Nearly 16, I can't believe it, he's enormous. Tall, I mean, not fat. But when he was like, 2, 3, if he saw me, he would kind of run away from me, apparently.
Oh dear.
I don't know why. I mean, it was weird because, we played together. Yeah? We could sit on the floor and play together with cars and so on. But if I were coming towards him, on my feet...
Oh, you probably thought that you were going to run right over him.
Maybe, I don't know.
But, talking about that, and it's not to do with blindness, it's to do with something else, but my old PA's children, her little boy... I lived in a house a little while ago, about a year and a half ago. Let's say a year and a half ago. I lived in a house full of disabled people, basically, of all different disabilities. And there was one guy in there, Dave, who was in a wheelchair. And my PA's child, the boy, was deathly afraid of this wheelchair and would turn like sheet white whenever the wheelchair was around, or if he could hear the chair coming, he would just like act as if literally a monster was coming to get him. So I think it's a thing. If you're not, but then my brother Charles, who is 10, he is so attentive towards me, and sort of making sure that I'm all right. And he'll come over and say, "Are you all right? Do you need help with anything?" Or he's so attentive, and so is my brother Edward. I have 3 brothers and a sister. I love them all very dearly, but I think it's something to do with being like growing up around disability, isn't it? In a way, I mean, not always, obviously, in the case of your nephew, but I think with people, I think it very much depends on what your parents. Like if you're a kid, it depends on what your parents' attitude towards the disability kind of gets passed on.
I don't think the being afraid of me stage lasted very long. In fact, it kind of came to relate to me a bit because, I still live with my parents, and then I did. So to him, being about sort of 4 or 5 or 6, I was kind of like a bigger child because I still live with my parents, because I didn't, go out to work or whatever. And I would oftentimes, I'd sit on the floor, and I'm a big kid, definitely, and
bigger than me, probably.
Yeah, definitely.
No, well, as big. Maybe that's why we get on so well, because obviously you guys know, I've told you, I love Barbie, I love fairies, I'm a crazy person. So yes, that's probably why we get on so well.
I collect plastic soldiers and Star Wars figures and model cars and Lego. I've got 2 enormous crates of Lego.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Do you know, I remember hearing recently that apparently Lego, if you've got the sets, in the boxes, it appreciates in value more quickly than gold.
I think I've heard that as well. Anyway, should we carry on with...
Yeah, we're not supposed to be talking about Lego.
No, you can tell me about that later.
Yeah.
But yeah, being stared out and about. Right, this might be a thing where you might rant a little bit, Dan. So everyone be forewarned. Right, talk about how to make a blind person's life easier out and about. So if you're a sighted person and you're out and about and you see a blind person or a partially sighted person, how would they make their life easier? How would you like people to make your life easier out and about? Is this a big, everyday pedestrians, not businesses or anything?
It's an interesting question, and you can find all sorts of guides to this. I don't know that. I think probably the best thing, I think the biggest thing I can say is get out of their way. That is to say, don't just kind of, don't stand in their path. They are not, not me, I'm coming along back and I cannot see you. I cannot see that you are standing looking in the shop window. I cannot see that you are standing gawping at me. If you stand, in my path, I'm going to run into you. And that's
also,
going to annoy
I think,
both of us.
at least with me, I'm oftentimes trying to concentrate on so many things, especially if I'm on, if there's certain difficulties around. So yeah, I'm oftentimes trying to concentrate. I mean, I've only got one eye. You guys know, I've told you. I can only see in this eye. The other eye just doesn't work at all. I mean, it might as well not be there. Because it just doesn't work at all. So I've got one eye that basically needs to see so much things, and then obviously I've got my senses to sort of carry the rest of that burden. But I'm oftentimes trying to concentrate on trying to get my bearings, trying to figure out, where exactly I am in relation to, where I want to be, trying to sort of navigate through obstacles and things like that. So being in my way is just going to be an extra kind of thing that I have to then try and navigate around and concentrate on.
Yeah.
But I mean, how can people actually help you? Like, is there any? Are you the sort of person that feels like you're not often out and about on your own.
Unfortunately, no. You possibly kind of picked slightly the wrong person to ask in some ways. But I would say, the thing is, if a blind person seems to be getting along all right on their own, pretty much it's a good idea to just, as I say, make sure you're not in their way. And that's pretty much it. If you think that they're in trouble, then I would say, the thing is, right, you can ask 10 different blind people this question and get 10 different answers. I know a girl from Sweden who...
he knows a lot of girls from all over the place. He's a ladies... Don't you know a lot of girls from all over the place? You're a bit of a ladies' man, aren't you?
Well, I have a lot of friends who are girls. Put it that way. I am unlucky in love. But anyway. I am.
Isn't he sweet? Guys, if any of you sees him and decides that you want him, he's available. He's single. And he's gorgeous.
Shall I give them my phone number now? Oh, good.
If anybody wants his phone number, in the comments down below, I will give you his phone number. He's available.
No, this person from...
Going once, going twice. Sold to the woman in the screen there.
Have you finished?
I'm trying to get rid of him. He won't leave me alone. He's so nasty.
This person from Sweden talks a lot about how very glad she is that nobody tries to help her in Sweden. When she gets off the bus or anything like that, nobody tries to help her. Nobody will come up and ask her if she's all right, and she's very pleased about that.
Well, I do have a sort of experience on this, and it's again something I've not told you about, guys. But I'll tell you, I had this experience about 7 or 8 years ago now, and I was in the centre of Manchester, and I came to a corner of a road. It was kind of like a crossroads thing between sort of crossing streets. Kind of thing, and I went to the edge of the pavement to sort of get an idea of which way I was supposed to be going, because I didn't know my way. But I did know my way. I knew where I was supposed to be going. I wasn't sure if I was on the right road. Anyway, so I went to the edge of the road to sort of get an idea of, to sort of stare down all the roads and see which way I was supposed to go, basically, you know what I mean? And then someone came up to me without even saying anything, grabbed me by the hand and pulled me across the road.
Yeah. And they don't even know. This is one of the things I was going to touch on. If you see a blind person who is in trouble, for the love of God, speak to them. Come up to them and say
hello.
Are you all right? Can I help you?
Yes.
And maybe for me, especially because I don't hear very well, I might not necessarily know. I know sometimes in this world today there's a little bit of a taboo about touching, but I would suggest, if I don't immediately answer you, it's not that I'm being ignorant, it's that I don't realise that you're speaking to me. So I would suggest that it's appropriate to just, a touch on the shoulder.
Just
are you
sort of
all right?
touch, are you all right? Sort of thing like that, just a gentle thing.
Okay, they might go, like that.
Because, you know, it is extremely disorienting to then just be walking about your business, concentrating on whatever it is you're doing, and having someone touch you for sort of like out of the blue, especially if you can't see them. Because obviously I can't see out of this side, so if someone comes to me on this side and touches me, I'm like, whoa, this person that I don't know has just come out of nowhere. This disembodied hand came out of nowhere.
And ask what, you know, ask what you can do. Don't assume that you know where the blind person wants to go.
No,
or what
unless you're in my head, which would be a very interesting experience, I can tell you. I know it is for me.
I've heard stories about people being grabbed like this and dragged, you know, completely the opposite direction to where they want to go, you know.
Anyway, right, so that's the question that is... is there another question? Let me see. I think there's one last question. Yes. I think I've already kind of talked about this, really. But I think that's one of the things that I was kind of... What was I saying now? I think I was talking to... that's what it was. It was on my disability video, and I was talking about walking beside somebody. How I mean, this is a me thing, not really a you thing, because you can't see at all. So this isn't the thing. But walking beside somebody and knowing which way they want to go. And my PA sort of noticed or sort of brought it to my attention that maybe that's because even if I have really very little peripheral vision, so once you come, I can really sort of see only a central portion of sort of visibility, and the rest of it, everywhere else, is kind of not very visible to me, which is the reason why possibly it might be harder for me to sort of notice if I'm walking beside somebody where it is that they're actually going, unless I'm linking them, because I'm also, you know, I have to concentrate on where I'm going, you know, and then figure out where I'm, you know, my direction is, and, you know, where I've been from in relation to where I'm going to and my route, and also keep an eye on the person next to me. So then I'm kind of going like this constantly, and then of course bumping into things quite a bit. So yes, that's kind of. I mean,
that's another thing, of course. A good thing you can do, perhaps, in terms of houses or whatever, try to keep obstructions off the pavement. I know you've got to put the bins out. I know that. It's not easy. You know, time was when, you know, the dustman would come down your drive and get the bin and check it and bring it back. But now it's all, you know, I'll put the wheelie bins out the lazy shops, basically. No offence to any dustman that might happen to be watching. But,
no, I know, but I mean, I think they've just don't have the time, really. But I did know a few years ago, and I ended up hurting myself quite badly, but someone had their van parked on their driveway.
Yeah.
And the tail of the van already kind of stuck out of the driveway a little bit, and then to add insult to injury, are you alright, Oldie?
My feet have gone to sleep, that's all.
And then to add insult to injury, there were planks of wood sticking out of the back of the van.
Oh, God.
So, of course, I comes along, little blind girl, and then banged into the wood, and they gashed my head open. So, be aware.
Yeah, definitely.
That sort of stuff is not very helpful to blind people.
Don't park on the pavement. Don't park off on the
don't do that. Oh, don't do that. Do you have any idea how hard it is to cross the road when there's someone parked, or even walk down the pavement, when there's someone parked half on the pavement and half on the road? It is hard. It is impossible.
Another thing is...
let's not turn this into a rant, though.
Well, I'm trying not to.
Alright, this is the last thing. That's the last point, because I think we should close it after this.
Okay. When I was only going to talk about hedges, trailing you know...
Oh, yeah, but that's not necessarily ever... I mean, because really...
No, but we were talking, you know, we were talking about out and about.
We were talking about
I was thinking about things. But, I mean, you know, I do appreciate... sometimes, obviously, like when you're getting down from a train, you're not always sure how high the step is or whatever. So I do appreciate a hand sometimes, you know. And people are very good and very nice about, you know, in my experience, people are very nice.
Most people are lovely. You know, I think also another thing. See, now I'm getting as bad as you. You've rubbed off on me. But oftentimes I will ask for help or directions from people, and they sort of be like, oh, as if like, oh, I can't be bothered with you. But, you know, like, imagine how it is for us. You know, we have to go above and beyond on the whole bothering thing, because it takes so much more sort of planning and concentration and attention to do the sort of things that sighted people take for granted.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just kind of, if a blind person comes up to you, or a disabled person comes up to you and says, do you mind helping me? Kind of try and do it with a smile, because it really does help us.
Oh, and one thing I will say.
Right, this is the last thing.
Okay, I'm enjoying
Last thing.
myself. I'm sorry.
I know you are. I know you are. You can talk forever.
I'm on a roll.
But we only have a limited amount of space on this video.
Right, well, I'll just say.
And it'll take like forever to upload if we
Right.
get
Okay. Right.
like a day and a
The
half.
other thing I will say is, I don't own a guide dog, and nor do you. I know that.
No.
But for the people that do, do not touch guide dogs.
Don't
Do
touch.
not
No.
feed them. Do not interfere with them.
Distract them in any way. Don't
I-
stop waving fingers at them like, oh, come over here, little blind dog, little guide dog, come over here, because they are working.
Yeah, they are as much. You would not. You see the sniffer dogs at the airport. You would not go up to them and offer them chocolates or whatever.
No.
I know you wouldn't offer dog chocolate anyway, but
No,
you
that's
would not,
poisonous.
You would not go and pet a police dog. A guide dog is just as much
A working dog.
a working
Yes.
dog. So
Exactly.
please leave them alone. And if you do pet them, I'm sorry, but expect to get a bollocking.
Yes,
from
I know
the
quite a
blind
few
person.
guide dog owners that are sort of like, please leave my dog, it's working,
Yeah.
and can be quite bolshy about it.
Yeah.
So just forewarned is forearmed. And anyway, so that is our video.
Yeah.
I know it's kind of, for anyone who's not really interested in disability, it's kind of a bit of a snooze fest. But if you are interested in disability and you want to hear things from a disabled person's point of view, this is the video to watch. And again, to reiterate, if anybody fancies going out with Dan, I'll give you his number. Right, guys, that is my video. Let me just. Facebook. Oh no, really? Oh no, it's fine. Right, no, I thought it was somebody I didn't want to see, but it's not. Anyway, guys, so right, that is
Bye.
that is my video. So, all right. Oh, I forgot to tell you, Dan. We have a special way to say goodbye on this video
Do we now?
on my channel, and we say pace.
Say what?
Pace.
Pace?
Which stands for, to just remind everybody what PACE stands for, in case you didn't remember. PACE is an acronym, and it stands for Positive Attitude Changes Everything.
Oh, good.
And so we say PACE on this video. So Dan, do you want to say PACE?
Do I want to say pace? Pace!
And all right, PACE from me too.